the shadows, I've come to make a name. Ready for battle, cause I got a thing to claim. Think that I'll crumble, I'll show you a mistake. Where you see me coming, better run for cover, cause I'm not slowing down, I'm never going under. I survived the pain, I know it made me stronger. So meet the monster, I came to conquer.
limited in weapons. Doesn't even matter to Free! All on the fourth as well! Sick is this round for him, and he's looking for the ace. The first ace from anyone on Astralis in this tournament, and now they're getting pumped.
For shot, Vegas is blind, and there's a chance. Sipit falls in mid, but a double. 3 kills for the Free.
Dupree coming in with a prestige to stay alive. Dupree getting the third, getting the fourth, and he's just gonna keep on going. Dupree with 4 frags. Wasser finds the frag and gets the ace for Astralis.
If they want any chance right now, then this will be a great line of play with a couple of great kills. But oh my God!
Wonders as well, ticking down Fallen, although they're still okay. Well, now it's a damage assist, so down they can run to the gun.
What is that from Blade?
All of this.
Yeah, but with a USP.
We are back at IEM Winter. This is only day 2 of the 2021 edition of this tournament, and already we are facing a blockbuster in the lower bracket of Group A. We have Astralis taking on Team Liquid. Pilski, it is set to be fireworks as one of these teams is going home.
Yeah, it's an old familiar matchup, but a completely different matchup at the same time. You know, the two cores of these teams have not really played against each other too much, so don't have anything to go off with the head-to-head that's all too relevant. And I think it's an interesting position that both of these teams find themselves in. Down there in the lower bracket, elimination on the line would be a disappointing placement for teams this high in the world ranking, and with you know, the names that these two teams sport and the organizations that are backing them.
Now, we came into this with question marks over Team Liquid's roster, what was going on there, what the future held for some of these players, but this is a new era of Astralis that we're starting to see. And I mean, they didn't get off to the best of starts. They're already finding themselves in a lower bracket run here at IEM Winter. And I think it's safe to say that maybe the underperformance of some of these players too gives a question mark over their head. Now, Config, big signing into this team, didn't necessarily perform at the level that he would have wanted so far in IEM Winter. But you've got to look at the, I guess, the same stack of cards that Team Liquid have been dealt. They're coming into this. Maybe it's an audition for some of these players for different rosters, because we know that this roster, as it sits, isn't necessarily set in stone. We don't know the future of some of these players. So it really does leave a few question marks over what to next if they do face elimination here at IEM Winter early on in the piece. But, I mean, in terms of their performance, as I said, they're playing at a much better level than we've seen previously. It seems as though as soon as the question marks were raised over Team Liquid, they were playing with a bit more freedom, they were playing a bit more loosely and getting some results.
Yeah, they definitely took a couple of series under their belts and were keeping things competitive in that previous tournament over there at Blast. So far in this tournament, I mean, they had the most convincing opening BO1. I think in the tournament, we had a lot of OTs, a lot of back and forth affairs. It felt like they were in control most of that OG game. And look, we don't know what the future holds for this roster. These two teams on very different trajectories, but you cannot question the star power that's on Liquid. And if it's a team you're going to underestimate, then they're definitely going to come in and take the game away from you.
Now, I mean, the roster that they're up against, right, Astralis, the organization, both of these two organizations, they need no introduction, but Astralis is certainly, you know, a household name in Counter-Strike, and it's safe to say that since they brought in BlameF, since they brought in Config, the stakes have been raised a little bit because they want to reach the top echelons of this immortal Astralis name, right? There's no other way to put it. There's a record of success there that this new roster has to attain.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it's realistic, considering they've had one of the best runs of any core in CSGO. So that might be a bridge too far for any roster. Well, we'll see what Na'Vi has to say about that. But as for this Astralis team, I think that it's just one step at a time, you know? They're going from tournament to tournament. I think they're still trying to 100% discover their identity and explore what it means to be playing with this new core. But the potential is definitely there. They have the quality in the names that are sported on this roster. And I think that it would be definitely a disappointing result, despite the growing pains of making changes to go down in a series to Liquid here in IEM Winter.
Well, there's no better way than to hear it from the players themselves as to how they feel about this matchup. We caught up with Zipex. We've sent Parlo down, and he's got the inside word.
Zipex, great to see you. I've got 3 questions that I'd like to go through. Firstly, what's the change been like for you guys as a team going from the old squad to the new one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big change. We've been together for a very long time, and obviously a lot of mixed feelings with it. Good memories, stuff like that, but now it's a new roster and we're doing great. I feel like we make progress every time we play, and everyone is grinding hard, so yeah, it's enjoyable to have new guys here.
Talking about progress, you guys, you got 3rd place at Blast, and that's a very quick turnaround with for a top result with a new team.
Definitely.
Zipex, how did you manage to pull that off?
I think we just, you know, we played in Denmark and we had a lot of support from the fans, and it was our first tournament, and we just went in with like I mean, we had 11 days to prepare for the tournament, so it wasn't a lot. We had in store tactically. So yeah, I mean, we just went in and just played hearts out for the the Danish fans and everyone there. So yeah, it was really enjoyable to play there, and I think we made great progress during the tournament.
Awesome. Zipex, final question. This is a bit more of a tactical question. It looks like currently in the team, there are a lot of role swaps. Mm-hmm. Things can be different match to match. Is this an experiment, or is this sort of an expectation of how a core Astralis player needs to be?
I think it's an experiment. So we have to change up some roles, see how we can utilize all the players well enough, and I think it's going great. So we'll keep experimenting, and at some point we'll settle in on something, and that's when the real grind starts.
Love to hear it. Thank you so much, Zipex, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Seems wild to me that the expectation would be set like that, but as they've said, it is an experiment, and I guess we'll see how this experiment plays out over the course of the IEM Winter competition. Of course, though, it is a big high-stakes game, right? Like both of these two teams, they're facing each other in the lower bracket. They're facing elimination and potentially their lowest ever finish in an IEM competition, equaling that. That's what's on the cards for either one of these teams. It's unavoidable. It's written in the stars, as you would say, if you maybe potentially an Astralis fan going way back. But, I mean, look, they've said it themselves. The expectation is high, but they haven't had a lot of turnaround time to prepare.
Yeah, and it's good to see that result at Blast, but I'm kind of wondering, you know, as we often do see with these new teams coming together, I don't know if it's necessarily a honeymoon period result as much of it's just like a good run of form that I don't necessarily expect Astralis to replicate. You know, they do have the quality to be a side that can contend with most teams in the world right now, but I'm not necessarily backing them to you know, necessarily go and win tournaments or consistently place top 4 just yet. It's only really early days and they are still experimenting, but I would at least back them to beat this Liquid side. So let's see if they can at least achieve that. I think both of these teams have kind of tempered expectations for very, very different reasons.
Now, always key in these sort of matchups is the veto. So we'll get that veto going momentarily. But this is going to be interesting, right? Because the experimentation is not just limited to what the roles are, but what the maps that are going to be played as well. And I think, you know, looking at these rosters and how they're progressing, okay. Overpass, not surprisingly banned. I actually thought maybe Liquid would have strayed towards Overpass, but they have gone for that Mirage pick.
Yeah, so Nuke into Mirage. It's interesting. We're kind of like in the middle of the map pool there. You know, I was also looking at that 100% win rate for Liquid over there on Overpass from 6 games. They've had a very, very good run of things on that map. And in fact, 3 victories in a row, well, 6 victories in a row in total, but going through ESL Pro League as well as recently, much more recently, into the Blast results where they went 3 for 3 on Overpass. I almost wouldn't be surprised to see them picked out by them as well, but they've decided to go a different route. And look, I couldn't tell you the reasoning for that, but I'm sure they have their heads screwed on right, and they think that that's their best opportunity to try to get through this series. Yeah,
I mean, you would have said that there would have been some interesting curveballs throwing out, looking at, you know, the fact that Astralis just haven't had a lot of reps on both Overpass and Vertigo. But you're right, we find ourselves more towards the middle of the map pool. Nuke coming out, I guess it's no surprise to see Nuke being floated in these matchups. They haven't had a lot of success on this map, but I mean, does it feel like you sort of throw those expectations out the window a little bit because they're playing, as I said, with a newfound freedom, a roster that so many questions are yet to be answered with, but they're just throwing it all out there. These guys are rewriting the script to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, look, Liquid have a bit of a dry spell on Nuke. A fair few of those results come quite a little while ago in very different circumstances, though. The most recent, obviously, Blast results didn't necessarily go terribly bad for them. Like in the finals, you did have them go up against Heroic, and it was a pretty close loss, and Heroic's a quality side. So, look, the fundamentals are there on Nuke for them to try to put up a bit of a fight here in towards Mirage. That'll be an interesting one as well. They did allow that second phase ban of Overpass to come in there, but this is where we'll kick things off. And I think Astralis, they looked reasonably comfortable on this map against Mousesports yesterday. They looked reasonably comfortable against Mousesports in general yesterday. So I'm feeling them heading into this matchup, but we'll see what Liquid has to say about it, Jim.
Now, looking at the veto, Pilski, how do you feel as though this one's going to go?
I'm feeling Astralis on Nuke here. I think they'll definitely be picking this one up. I think Liquid need to get the work done on Mirage, but we'll see. It's all, kind of up in the air because you have to kind of temper your expectations and what you expect from both of these teams given the circumstances of their rosters right now.
Now, this is a group stage best of 3 elimination match between Liquid and Astralis. Whoever thought I'd be saying that as we head on into topside here. Almost immediately, Astralis, they're not messing about. Team Liquid are going to be playing that retake on topside as the bomb plant comes in.
Yeah, Team Liquid pretty heavily set up in towards outside. Here's this cute little rafters boost, but they fluffed it a little bit, and instead they're going to have to abandon that as that Annex smoke phases. Put Astralis in a very sticky situation. Config wants to leave, Glaive wants to stay, and now Astralis actually filtering out of the site, but they've found the first pick.
Now, they're all going to have to filter into this bomb site, though. And look at this hut presence from Astralis. They're just going to harass the defuse, though. They're making it work. Stewie with the knife, and the defuse comes out. What is going on? Pandemonium for the first round, and that may be a window into the future for this series. How do you track what's going on there?
Chaos. You can't. But that knife means that Stewie, he goes, hey, I've got a lot of cash in the bank. Here you go, Fallen. Here's the AWP for you straight away. Astralis, after the bomb plant, incentivized to buy. They're going to put some AKs together. They're still kind of organizing themselves in spawn right now, so they're going to be a little bit late out of the gates, and that might give an opportunity to Fallen to potentially try to pick someone on the cross. But Astralis starting to make their way out of spawn, so they burnt a little bit of extra time off the clock. Let's see what they're going to be going for in a round like this. They've only got the 3 smokes here. First one, in fact, all of them being invested on outside here, so at least they're going to avoid that AWP threat, which, to be fair, is probably not something you're expecting in a round like this if you are Astralis, but they've done a good job mitigating the risk, and they start to make some inroads towards Secret now.
Slower pace. Might not play into their favor. As you can see, both teams quite light on utility. So this is just going to come down to a good old-fashioned brawl in the end. Astralis do have that positioning now with Glaive towards Secret, but I mean, he hasn't really been able to pull anybody from Team Liquid away. They're happy to just give that outside presence to Astralis. Fallen's all the way back in spawn, so the chance of a wrap is going to be minimal. They don't have utility to displace him. They're going to have to try and take those jewels.
I mean, there's no way they're ready for Fallen in a position like that, right? And they're going to crab walk under the angle. They might have just timed him perfectly. This could be a bit of a freebie for the T's, but they don't spot Fallen in there, and the footsteps heard means he gets a freebie onto Glaive now heading into that ramp room. That's pressure on Nap, who's got a player right next to him. That's a Famis gifted over to Glaive. He's going to say thank you very much, but with no utility, there's no coverage to get across to the lower side. It's a good thing they got rid of the lead, but no control of the control room, and that is the critical juncture where Astralis unfortunately times themselves out. And after you see them burn a whole bunch of time off the clock deciding on how to get that second round buy going at the start of the round, it's probably a little disappointing.
That round had so many twists and turns. Liquid, though, were ready for that almost immediately. And you're right, Astralis just burning down the clock, giving themselves absolutely no time, no chance to play for that plant at all. They had to just commit to it. And Liquid run away with that quite nicely. Zipex saving over that AK. So they do have that hero potential.
Sure. I mean, Zipnix in the game against Mouse was pretty insane. And I view Nuke as one of these maps where a man with his skill set can really open up a whole new realm of possibilities. He could see the lines, you know. Zipex, effectively the equations man. See that meme? All the calculations being done in the head.
Rain Man.
Oh.
Young Stu having a ripping first half. And Astralis are just dead in the water right now. No territory. nobody from Liquid aggressing. So their opportunities into this round are quite limited.
No doubt. Astralis. Effectively the waiting room for Zipnix to have some impact here. He hasn't moved a muscle. Still sitting inside his hut.
Make a very successful doctor. Has a lot of patience. Grim. And is some movement shown towards top side here. He's going to just find the second. Ooh, config though. Makes it interesting. Some work to be done as Astralis are cleaned up. But around going the way of Team Liquid, where very little in the way of resistance from Astralis. As we said, there was only that one AK saved over from the previous round, so it was just a money-building exercise for them. Zipex down to the Mac 10 with his unfortunate demise. And Liquid, they've been building economy. They've been minimizing their losses. Only Grim has seen a grisly end quite a few times. But everybody else has been able to keep everything in their back pocket.
Yep. Team Liquid right from the get-go. Little bit of pressure on outside. Wasn't going to be too surprised if you saw Leech floating into a bit more of an aggressive position than he's in, but he's going to temper himself and sit back in towards the annex side. Pretty standard first gun round in from Liquid. Nothing too crazy, but Stewie going to take matters into his own hands. Aggressing into Hut. Nice little pop flash to potentially set him up for a pick. But no one to receive. And Astralis, after burning a good 30 seconds off the clock, going to set up for some of these outside smokes and then move through the rest of the round from there. Blame. We'll see if he does float towards outside. Astralis looking to pressure ramp room now.
So much time is being burned off, but now we're going to head towards ramp now. Leash needs to make sure he's not caught out of position here. They've gotten onto the fact he's there. That's good for two. Naf chimes in. Fallen is there, and this is a nice trap set by Liquid. Astralis only with their hopes and dreams on the back of him. Wide swing from Grim, and that is the round. Honestly, quite a well-worked crossfire from Team Liquid. Astralis, though, they're finding themselves just having to deathball into these choke points, and it's not working in their favour.
Did he pick apart by, I would say, some pretty basic crossfires. Not a whole lot of tells in a round like that of actual players putting pressure on. Astralis just assuming that the utility is going to do the work for them. This time, they've taken the opposite approach. A combination of the utility as well as the firepower as the Tech9s make their way onto the site. Too much spacing. Flame F with the roller skates on, just sliding across the screen of some of the CTs. And now Astralis have found themselves a little bit of space on the site. But Team Liquid, well, it's truly not out of things. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. It's all on Fallen.
He's had that AWP since the second round, and I'm sure he's able to keep his mitts on it. He'll want to retain it as long as possible, but I was about to say Astralis were going to make that expensive for Liquid. They've turned that back in their favour. The bomb plant comes in, and it's looking very likely a round win for them because Fallen is not interested at all in going for that. Team Liquid, it was just that change of tempo from Astralis. It catches them off guard.
Yeah. All I'm saying is we're 2 for 2 on the half buys into Upper Rush today on Nuke. Good strat.
High success rate, high strike rate. And that's what you need. 2 elimination games thus far. Oh, Blame F's not going to check. And that is Fallen revealing his position, but smartly nobody from Astralis. Let's Zipex catch him here. Fallen will not peak again, and that is a round well worked by Astralis. As you said, it was just a change in tempo, change in pace, the speed and ferocity of those Tech9s catching them off guard.
Yeah, great bang for their buck as well. Not a whole lot invested in a round like that. And not only do they take a round, but they also really pressure the CT side economy. Team Liquid now scraping the bottom of the bank accounts, and with only 1,900 loss bonus, they are effectively broke if they lose this one, whereas Astralis, their money still looks relatively clean right now, and they've got the loss bonus behind them. Quick outside smokes. I think one of which might have been extinguished by a CT Molotov, so it might be difficult for Astralis to cross here. Yeah, indeed. One of them has definitely missed the mark. Double AWP coming in for Team Liquid, and Naf has already put that to pretty good use to find the opener over towards the radio there.
The problem for Astralis is that they have to expend a lot of utility now. Just trying to get themselves into position. Trying to contend with this double AWP setup, but what we're seeing from... Oh, Config pops a lot of damage for his trouble, so... Really are starting to feel the heat now, Astralis, as Liquid looking relatively unfazed. They've got good utility level still to defend these bomb sites. Yes, Astralis do have position. BlameF is through secret, but they can only get out the vent here. Astralis might be able to put pressure on this lower bomb site. Stewie might actually let them out. Fallen. He takes aggro and just allows Stu to do his thing. Glaive has got to fight their way back into this. It is still a 3 versus 4. Config barely clinging on to life. They have control of lowers, and the lead is going to arrive just on time. This is a hot
cross, but that molly kind of sealing the deal. And Config never even had a chance, Jim. He got 96 in forward through the smoke earlier that round.
Oh no. Oh, Grim catches him. And you're right, heading into this, Config not having the impact that he wanted. I mean, he was on a 35 to 51 KD and a 60.6 ADR so far at IEM Winter. So, despite the team's relative success, he really hadn't had the impact at all. And I think, you know, that story sort of starts to continue for him here, but definitely one of those players that benefits from a clear role definition. And if that's what's happening in Astralis, they're just experimenting. Certainly going to be struggling with his place in this team right now.
Yeah, I think definitely capable of a lot more than the output shown thus far, but a rough game in the opener against NIP could be where you see some of that coming in. Astralis, like I said, getting good bang for their buck out of the half buy means that they are able to put another buy on the board despite getting smacked around in that last round. Blame. He's been searching outside pretty routinely from the nuke games we've seen from this Astralis core. He's found some good space here.
Oh. Finds the head of Fallen too, so now power of position. And it forces Grim to take aggro in the hut. They are in trouble here, Liquid. They need to fight their way out. Grim's good for 2 though, so he gives them a breath of fresh air with 3.
Oh, that's beautiful. Precision shooting. Lucky's trying to dig them out of this bad situation, though, and blame in the rafter is probably not something you would have bargained for, but the problem is it's not like control of the bomb site means too much. When the bomb's been dropped in lobby by Grim, he was keen for the ace, but won't be given it. Lucky caught with nade in hand. It's on Blame to clutch.
That's a 2v1. Ooh, recollect the bomb, but nah. Solid pair of hands in rafter, and that is a good round for Liquid. It just curbs the upward trend from Astralis slightly. As you said, the loss bonus is still relatively healthy. It's not going to cover all players' losses though, but a much needed round from Grim to just get himself into this series.
Yeah. I think Grim on Liquid has been a bit more refined to a bit of a role player, bit of an anchor. You often see him with util in hand for some of the boys or playing some of those supportive roles. It's good to see him just reclaim some of that triumph form and just let loose a little. Just sanding it into lobby and taking duel after duel, and he's good for it. Tuck time out for Astralis. Things are spinning out of control at a rate they're probably not comfortable with. Can't put a buy together here, but will again half buy with a hero AK.
I mean, it's big shoulders of responsibility, but they are big shoulders on Blame F, so you've got the right player for the job.
That's it. See if he can lift this round.
Fast approach. Again, that change of pace. It did catch Liquid off before. Enough though, once bitten, twice shy. Does take Zipex, but the rest of Astralis, they haven't aggressed with him, so they're just going to stream into lowers here. Essentially 1 by 1.
He's still got Glaive in the back of lobby. Anticipating a push. He's looking for that player to go a little bit deeper on the CT side from outside, but he's not going to be obliged right now. Liquid quite happy with the man advantage and with this superior weaponry to just sit back in high percentage positions. So all Astralis are really doing is just burning more time off the clock right now.
It's burning up so much time. Waiting for Glaive to get to his position. I mean, Liquid, they're happy to just let that be. Give them outside control. Got numbers in lower. So it's not a question of whether or not they've got the players in the right position. But if Glaive can fashion a frag here, he's going to make Astralis' job so much easier hitting that lower side. Yes, they do have two here. Naf is deeply anchored. And they have hit the go button. Oh, Glaive strikes. Here we go. Naf is good. He does the dance around the pole, but he cannot get anywhere. Blame F with that one AK. And they now pick up that M4 on Glaive. So this is a 3 versus 3 with some venom. Config will get the plant. They will try and prevent it though. Liquid. Stewie. Straight out through the smoke. No surprises there. And now Glaive has got that deagle. Out of bullets on the M4. Desperate attempt to save the round for Astralis.
They need to put some rounds on the board. But as always, one of the biggest win conditions you can set yourself up for is to just break that CT money as hard as possible. And every little bit of chip damage you're getting in is assisting you in having that comeback potential. Astralis take a couple guns off of Liquid. Going to reinvest and give another buy a crack. And with 1,400 loss bonus and a couple of pretty broke players on Liquid, there is very real potential for Astralis to fashion something here for themselves. Straight out of the squeaky door, they're going to take a little bit of util damage, but the flash coverage is pretty solid to get that entry into the side on Grim. Stewie trying to fight from heaven. Those were very quick frags that he was able to find. So into a 3-on-3. And again, it's up to Astralis to get comfortable in the post plant. They're going to be given the space to get that bomb down, having mollied out heaven. Smoke off on Annex. So Utility doing a fantastic job at just mitigating the risk of keeping Liquid at arm's length.
Post-plant positioning and the plant itself mean that Astralis likely have to fight in the site. Lucky bomb is not planted for him, so Liquid getting ready to stage their retake. That grenade is just going to deafen Naf momentarily. However, they're going to make it work. Oh, Naf the hero from heaven. Had a lot of work to do. I thought that grenade was going to crush him. Liquid get that round seemingly quite easy, but they're constantly taking losses here, Pilski, and that just keeps the economy somewhat honest. However, this is the first time in a while it feels as though they've been able to keep 3 up.
On plan in from Astralis, plus the T-side loss bonus. I think we all know how that story goes. It's going to be buys on buys. Astralis given more and more time to try to put together a more convincing gun round, because the individual brilliance on Liquid is really a bit of a problem for Astralis on this T side right now.
Fast and furious. Elise tries to do it sideways through the smoke, but Fallen has no further intel to provide to the team. They do get that player down secret. So BlameF has taken some damage doing so, but more importantly, he has that positioning. Oh, Stewie has to fall. Flash. Pixel perfect. And, well, BlameF has been eliminated. Stewie's got a lot of work to do. Oh, couldn't find the transfer onto the second. However, the trades are relatively good now for Astralis.
This could be the round where they get it done. Molly going to keep the AWP back while Glade puts the plant down, and it's the dynamic duo from the old core in the 2-on-2 here. Flash is being layered in here for Liquid. And Fallen, a vertical flick, just ends zip. Glade's got to do it on his own.
He has the element of surprise, though. They have no information as to where he could be. They're going to wait out that time. The smoke will come in. The defuse will come on the back of that. Fallen still looking for that bomb. Glaive has got to play the timer perfectly, and now he reveals his position. Good for the trade, though. Grim coming in clutch for Liquid. And another round that just thins that Liquid economy. It is, well, still some way away from being totally broken, but Astralis That plant means they are able to buy in very well to the next round. This, you could just feel Astralis getting closer and closer. However, these retakes from Liquid, they're looking like the better team.
Yeah, they're just not winning. They're just not losing the XVXs. You know, even if Astralis are able to put themselves in the post plants, they are not able to close them. Definitely a rough state of affairs. But you can't fault Liquid right now, man. They're seeming pretty tight and on point.
Oh,
a cup of tea. That sounds great. I might go boil the kettle here in a second, maybe in the halftime break.
Wonder what his go-to is. Is he a chai latte man?
That's a yellow tag. It's probably not much of a giveaway.
Lemon ginger, maybe?
Oh, lemon ginger, yeah.
That's a favorite. But I mean, this is some domination here from Liquid. But they're not necessarily having an easy time doing so. These are coming down, as you said, to those XVX situations, right? It's breaking down to post-plant, breaking down to retakes. Economy of Liquid is going to be questionable. If they do lose a round, it just feels as though that they're building a very large deck of cards, and a house of cards could potentially break here if that CT side fail to win one of these rounds. And Astralis know that. Astralis know that they keep chipping away at it. They're just reducing their opponent's loss bonus. They're taking scalps with them. That means that it's going to be expensive for Liquid to recover.
Ooh, a couple of smokes dropped for Blaine. He's going to throw the wall of smokes on outside himself. Try to sow some seeds of doubt in Team Liquid's mind about what the numbers on outside are. Down straight through from Stewie indoor. He's been good for it time and time again. Speaking of a man who's been good for it, Naf has been impeccable. But he does get floored by Lucky, traded back by Fallen. But Astralis have done what they set out to do. They've got control of the ramp room. This is pushing and pulling the CT rotations. Liquid have been deprived information. And now Astralis going to creep back towards upper. Blame can meet up with the rest of the lads on the creep through Annex, and this is where the two arms of the push could potentially embrace Fallen on this upper site. Grim's there to assist him as well.
Oh, Grim strikes. The trade, they're looking for it, Astralis, and they're going to expand so much trying to get him in that. Allows Fallen to find two. And it's all on the shoulders of Blame F. There was a lot of space for him to work with, but that is since reduced. The Liege pops up, says hello from below, and that is another round that goes the way of Astralis. Oh, sorry, Team Liquid. Astralis just faltering in these rounds. They did so much in the early stages. They created so much space. You're right, they had that freedom to create a push-pull. Blame F had some space to finally work with outside, but they enter top site. Grim's able to pinch two.
Yeah.
That's a round gone begging.
Yeah, it's all the mid-round fights, mid to late round fights that are going the way of Liquid. Like Astralis, they're not doing a terrible job of setting themselves up in decent positions. But they're kind of getting outdone in the mid to late round. And not just once or twice, every bloody round. Liquid have just been better in a lot of these duels. Their firepower is surpassing that of what Astralis can put together right now. And that's where the difference is being made. For the most part. There are some finer details in there. We're not going to oversimplify it, but Astralis, the only round they got was on a bit of a half bite. See if they can reclaim some of that magic. Wall of smoke on outside. Flush over the top, sends up Stewie for some more excellence with the A1S.
Config hasn't been spotted out. Stu's aware of potential. Is that the drop from Config? It is. And now Stewie is just looking unbeatable outside. That's a nice solid round. Team Liquid, they stabilise themselves so nicely. 11-1. This is not the result I was expecting.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was almost thinking to myself, you know, a team like Liquid, with so many outstanding players in every position, take a little bit of pressure off their shoulders. You give all of these individuals the freedom to just go for some of those aggro plays if they want to. You've seen it from a couple of them so far. Grim pushing lobby, Stewie all over the place. Naf was all the way up radio with the AWP earlier on. Just so many potential snags that Astralis can trip up on. And Fallen is again one of them. That's the second time an AWP has found opening pick in towards that ramp room. Into radio. So Astralis kicking off another 4-on-5.
I'd love to take a look at how many opening duels have gone the way of Fallen. Zalige just allows Blame F. They know that he works around these smokes. Oh, it's nice and easy for it. And the rest of Astralis, there's nothing they can do on the other side of that smoke. They just have to let Zalige slip away. But okay, they're going to regress through it. Zalige does not know what is working on the other side of that smoke. Config levels him. Now Astralis do have control of outside, but clock is starting to tick for them. Find that pick. That is handy. However, Liquid are finding trades as the CT numbers start to thin. The task gets even harder. This is looking like a round for Astralis.
Yeah, it could be. I think good positioning from both of the final CTs, though, could definitely unhinge things. They've been convincingly better in the mid to late round time and time again, and we don't get to see it, but Fallen in towards Secret. Cleans up both of the last two.
I'm sorry. Again, what? How does he pull them out of that situation?
I mean, I saw him. I saw him. He was sliding up on the line in Secret.
Oh my goodness.
Re-aggressing. I mean, I expected him to be scoped in, but that's just classic Fallen, isn't it? Shotgun AWPing is his forte.
Frustrations for Astralis, but here we go. Change of tempo here. Straight through that squeaky door. The Molotov chokes him up slightly. And that is not good news for Astralis. They cannot get down that vent.
Yep, another opening duel going the way of Liquid, and I was talking about it before. Individuals having the freedom to aggress if they so choose to. NAF is deep up radio yet again. In that part of the map, it's got to be so frustrating for Astralis. You're getting a different look every time, Jim. One round you're getting an aggressive AWP, one round you're getting a passive AWP, one round you're getting an aggressive rifle, one round you're getting a passive rifle. Just never know what to expect, and it's felt like a lot of the different mix-ups have gone the way of Liquid more often than not. So in the 2-on-4, again, it's one of the veterans to try to work outside, see if they can find a bit of an opening.
Oh. That one goes the way of Zipex. It's Fallen does leave a lot of room now outside for Astralis, but we've seen them manage to recover very nicely. As you said, in his mid to late rounds, that's where Team Liquid are doing the better job of making those adjustments. A lot of work still to do. 2v3 for Astralis. All they need to do is just hold their positions, Liquid.
Oh. Those micro adjustments that Leech does so well. Just understanding the mechanics so beautifully. You see him shift into the right side as that smoke starts to fade. Just those tiny little movements that can really make the difference in those kind of fights.
13-1. That is an incredible turn of events.
No doubt.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy game from Liquid. But this is what happens when star potential is realized right across the board, Jim.
I mean, you'd argue this Liquid roster always had that star potential, right? But they're playing to their potential. Astralis, they've been trying everything. Okay, the MAC-10s are going to force their way onto this site. However, they run into the wall of Fallen and Grim. And I tell you what, if you're Astralis right now, things are looking quite grim. As Glaive has that UMP. Might be able to catch Grim off. And he does. But now in the 2-on-1, what's working for him now is the fact that Fallen has the AWP. So with 18 HP, got a lot of work to do. He's hoping Liquid will make the mistake. They'll re-aggress here. Very patient from Glaive.
Yeah, waiting for a CT to get a bit too big for his boots. Fallen again, in these 2-on-1s or small man situations, he's often staying active, searching for the player aggressively and shifting around the place. Naf just chooses to put his back to a wall. Okay. All right. I thought Glaive was trying to underarm and misclicked, but he picks himself up an AK.
And an interesting turn of events. He throws a UMP instead of a smoke, but bomb plant will be faked out. And that's actually just going to give Liquid time to regroup for the retake. They don't have the information, but nor does Glaive, so he has to meticulously check everything, be aware of his positioning. He's going to take a risk here. That's actually going to allow Fallen to slip into the bomb site. With Naf and Fallen have a lot of work to do. Oh, he's going to catch the timing. He has no idea where Fallen is. And Fallen now is going to give that away. Glaive, he's got to play a high-stakes game of Ring Around the Rosie, and Fallen will find him. The defuse will come in, and that is going to be a dominating half of Counter-Strike from Liquid. Who would have expected it? Certainly not I, certainly not you. We'll be back with the second half after the break.
And we'll probably still take it. We'll see, though. Molly going to come out here for Fallen. 2 sets of utility. It's all the utility pressure in here for Liquid as they hit the timing into upper. It's only a 1-for-1. Glaive getting pressured. He's trying to back in towards the squeaky door, but he's chased down. Config gets wiped out on the site, and now Astralis in a 2-on-4.
Well, they still have the Minister of Clutch coming in. What can he fashion for Astralis? It's a hard task. Compatriot BlameF has been tagged to 16, and he's nowhere near the action. He's in another zip code.
On the road, and then I saw one of them legs up at the cafe down the road.
Max chilling. No chance of winning the round.
Oh, that one onto Stewie, that was pretty nasty.
Does take some scalps.
That's going to be the Wooden Spoon Award for BlameF at this point, because Liquid's on that point. Any percent speed run of a IEM Winter lower bracket game.
15-1. Okay. Astralis want to do this on hard mode.
Dude, the only round they've won is a half buy on the T side with an uppers rush. That's actually ludicrous.
The scary thing is this is picked by Astralis. So, Liquid, they've bought into this with absolutely everything, taking no chances. But I mean, those Mac 10s are just going to provide them with freedom of movement across the map. You look at Astralis' buy, and it's not inspiring me a lot. I will give you that.
Yeah. We'll see. They can double up their rounds here, though. That's Sonks right there. It's only up from here for Astralis. Config. It's a good angle for the MP9 on top of Hut, and the smoke's definitely going to help him out. He's doing some acrobatics.
Yep.
Through the fire and the flames into some more fire.
It's not good.
Out of the frying pan into the frying pan.
Doing his best Tony Hawk's pro skater impression.
Well, we'll see what kind of sick moves Team Liquid have at this point. They're meandering around the lobby. Perhaps waiting for their room to get cleaned up. It's not quite there yet.
Dangerous for Astralis. Oh, re-aggression here from Lucky. Cannot provide the trade that they need, and this is going to be top site overrun, and you feel as though this is all but a formality, as Glaive, as good as he is, will not be able to clutch in this position. He will go down. That is 16-1 the score. Astralis falling on their map pick of Nuke, and this is not the start to this series that I was envisioning. We'll be back after the break to break it down where this went wrong.
fragged in every critical situation, not just some of the critical situations. They got out fragged across the board, and Liquid, they set themselves up for success. It's not like they weren't playing without structure. They definitely were, but the individual freedom was the X factor for them, no doubt.
They were just so much better in those 2v2s, those 3v3s, those broken rounds. The amount of times Liquid were able to just bring themselves back into those rounds on the back of a 2k here, a 3k there, and it was just, as we said, some individual performances that were certainly fantastic, but overall, I think it's hard to highlight any one individual from Liquid because they all came together, they all had their flashes of brilliance, and it just sets them up for this next map in the series.
Yeah, and it's Mirage. So you get the individuals playing like that on Mirage, given the freedom to pop off. You've had constant pace changes, constant changes of how certain players play positions. They're picking up AWPs and giving Astralis a different look all the time. That's going to be a good recipe for success on a map like Mirage.
Now, we're going to take a look at some of the key performers in this matchup. It is the Air Force AIM High head-to-head. Now, it's going to come up any moment. Now, Pilsky, I think we did highlight two players in similar roles as well. We went for Glaive and, of course, Fallen. Now, the stats will be up momentarily, but both of these two players, I think it's safe to say that Glaive barely touched an AWP at all in that match. I don't recall a single round, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he did his best calling his T side, but I think Fallen is probably the bigger brain IGL and the better IGL in a lot of ways because he didn't have to play a T side, You don't have to call a T side. You're feeling pretty good about that. Only had to play 2 bloody rounds of T side, and then it was done and dusted. So easy as you like. Very, very dominant performance on the CT side, and easy day at the office for Liquid, apparently.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the other important part too was he was very mobile with that AWP in that mid to late round. He didn't necessarily plant himself on either, of those bomb sites or around ladder base. He was very dynamic in the way he moved. You could see him so many times moving through secret, so many times moving through the ladder base area, and even sometimes just moving into a ramp. So we'll quickly take a look at the stats here. And I mean, yes, Glaive was putting up that ADR, but there we go. Not even
15
touching.
kills to 0.
Yeah.
And Fallen, hold on.
He had an AWP in round 2.
Yeah, let me get the numbers. Yeah, he did. He got dropped over by Stewie, dude, Fallen had 16 kills. He had 15 kills on the sniper and 1 on the pistol. Man did not even have to get a rifle kill or any other kind of kill that game. That's kind of crazy. It was beautiful from Fallen to watch him maneuver around the place. It was flashes of brilliance from the old Fallen in the glory days of the Brazilian core. Like you said, he was super, super dynamic and super fluid in a lot of the XVX situations. You see a lot of AWPers that are quite rigid. They sit, they tuck themselves in a pretty safe position where they're pretty sure they're going to be getting a pick when it gets into some of those sticky situations, and they just want to be a bit of a turret. Fallen was moving around the place. He was that mobile shotgun AWPer that we love to see. He had some quick scopes, he had some vertical flicks, and that definitely bodes well if you can keep that up for Liquid.
I guess you could say he was quite liquid in his movement around the map, and I think that bodes well for them heading onto a map like Mirage. As you said, you need, I guess, all pistons firing on a map that does allow an AWPer to really take control of the game. So it's good early signs from Liquid. There is still a good chance here for Astralis. They're no slouches. Mirage is not a map that they shy away from. If you look at the stats between the two of them, they share a pretty equal win percentage. You just have more data on this Liquid lineup, though.
Yeah, they've got a lot more reps in officials as of late. I mean, you go look at Astralis. They played it 3 times over there in Blast to their 3rd place. They did kind of get slapped around a little bit by Vitality. But victories over Heroic and FaZe are nothing to turn your nose up at. So we'll see if they can recover this series. Liquid didn't do too badly for themselves. They've already gotten a victory in the BO1 opening game of the tournament up against OG. They had a great one against NIP as well over there in Blast. So both teams not looking too shabby over there on Mirage, and both recently suffering a pretty solid loss to Vitality, actually. So common enemy for both of them, I suppose.
Absolutely. Now, just to give you some context too, and we didn't touch on this in the pregame, but like head-to-head, heading into this series, Astralis and Liquid, between the two organizations, there was a match record of 65 wins to Astralis and only 19 to Liquid. Liquid have notched their 20th win in terms of maps, and then that head-to-head, obviously different cores through different iterations of the roster over time. But in terms of series, right, like either BO1, BO3, or BO5, Astralis have the upper hand. They have that 34-6 record in series wins. That's ridiculous by any margin. And I don't know, this is looking like turning around for a roster that may not be with Liquid for too much longer. That's a scary prospect.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, although it's an interesting talking point, and it's nice to think about the glory days and whatnot, I think, you know, it's not really such a fair comparison in current days of CS, although there's a couple of the boys from the old core that do share that rivalry. We're playing in very different circumstances, but it must feel good for a couple of the boys on Liquid to thump Astralis a little bit in the opening game of this series.
That's one for the stats men, no doubt. But we will be back with map number 2, Mirage, in this series after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Choose nades, choose a smoke, choose a flashbang. Choose team badges to support your favourite CSGO team. Choose an ESEA Premium membership. Choose routes you know bring in wins. Choose pro video tips. Choose the fan club wars. Choose behind the scenes content. Choose good grades. Choose guns you know you can shoot right. Choose bingo. Choose the equipment you know is going to get your team the win thanks to heat maps. Choose the CSGO Hub Premium, the complete package to help you and your squad achieve all your CSGO goals.
I think looking back at the year, there's only two things I could think of that would have really helped. I think that I would have really had to become more of a leader and really stepped into that role, and not saying being the IGL, but just taking on more leadership qualities. And I think that's what you have to do, when you're a really good player, that you have to be that person. And I think that's what Simple was able to do really well, and I think that's what a lot of those top players are able to do for their team. And the second thing I would say is just try to find some better solution for travel, whether that had been a 6th man or something. But I think it was the biggest mental strain for me, and I really didn't know what to do, and I was feeling really sad about it for the majority of the year. So just trying to find some solution to that. Otherwise, I think those are the two main things.
last recent tournament on this map, and I'm sure, you know, they're going to keep the mentality strong. It's only up from here for these lads. You can't get worse than what happened in that last map.
Any way to go from rock bottom is up. Hopefully they don't hit rock bottom, though.
I keep telling myself that, Jim, as well. I think it's helping.
One day, it'll happen. One day. However, Astralis on this matchup against Team Liquid. Fairly even map statistics, if you were to look at the stats in terms of reps. However, slightly more on the line this time around as Astralis are playing for their tournament lifeline. Who would have predicted them to go out in the lower bracket so early on at IEM Winter? Not I, not anyone on the analyst desk, but let's just see whether or not Liquid can be the ones to knock them out on their map pick. As they head onto that T side, Liquid just early utility, intermediate into short. And it's going to be that A-Rat coming through. Glaive standing strong at the top of connector. However, he's hit by a steam train. They have to clear out this site. Lucky does find Naf. That's a great shot to maintain position. And now, Astralis is starting to creep up on the wings. However, it's a change of direction from Liquid. They're going to go back to B, back to their empty site.
Yeah, great movement there, up and towards the ladder. Still controlling the middle of the map. Crosshair placement was good, but not quite good enough. Zip is lucky to get away with his life, but Astralis very far outside of position here, Jim. No kits, and still worried about that player in towards jungle side. They're going to try to collapse on him. Nicely adjusted there from Lucky, and now Fallen and Elise must combine in this 2-on-4 to secure the pistol for Liquid, but they are completely surrounded right now.
Stewie was the hinge player. He needed to start swinging. Here we go, though. Fallen. He's had good form in this series again. He goes down, though. Oh, the retake is good from Astralis. Short plant is not going to play any effect in as they just nail Liquid to the wall. And so, Astralis, they equal their map score in the first round.
Yeah, promising signs. That's for sure. Just felt like no matter what they did on that last map, they couldn't win a round. Just every single round, the individuals stepping up for Liquid. So even to just take a pistol is going to be good for Astralis' confidence going forward. Liquid now, after getting that bomb plant, as we often do see, investing straight in the buy. A lot of AKs across the board here. Stewie's got a whole bunch of utility to work with, but he's not interested in enabling any of his teammates, at least early on. Instead, opting to go for that duel towards a ramp, seeing if he can catch a player slipping on the cross. Won't be the case, though. Not to be. And Legion Grim going to work in tandem to see if they can find a pick on a player in middle.
Just that slower approach to mid here. Blame F just on top of the smoke. A grenade. It's going to land at Legion's feet. Just tickles him slightly. But patience might be rewarded. Oh, the aim punch is real, though. Elige. Seeing stars. Fallen. Does manage to find Blame F, but this is a bit of a ragtag round now for Liquid. They've got control of mid. The bomb is down a connector. But Config is not content with just sitting back.
Staying active. Gonna push in towards unders. It's an easy one on Fallen. Catches him in the side of the head, and Naf goes looking for Config, who is just gonna slink back away. Liquid spinning their wheels in middle right now, and middle is not the bomb site.
Oh, reality check though for Glaive, Naf and Elige. Potent duo. Don't have a lot of HP to work with, however, they do have the AK. Zipex on that MP9 could be a real hindrance to Astralis. He does upgrade though, as he comes through connector. Reload heard by Naf, so they're going to play that post-plant position. Would suspect they would bide their time to take this duel. Waiting out that defuse. It's a great appearance from Naf, and this is a job now super difficult for Zipex. Minister of Clutch is going to have to pull out one of the all-time great sermons. And that is not going to be the case. Liquid wrestle back around after Astralis' early work on the pistol.
And all momentum, all wind in the sails of Astralis. Probably in question at this point. I mean, it's just a classic, isn't it? Allegiant NAF turning around a, what was that, a 2-on-4? And now Astralis not even full investing into a round like this, going into the double eco. Liquid looking to burst out of A hit. Looking like as normal of a round as you'd expect here for the T side. Just A smokes on the right side of sight, flashes over the top. Grim goes out with a Mac 10. Been quite sharp on the Mac 10. Remember some of those duels where he was shooting people on pixel angles, just multiple dinks. Lucky, don't know how he's gotten away with that one. They didn't have anyone in Palace Gym.
Absolutely not. But you're right. He just has this incredible first bullet accuracy with that Mac 10. Just nails him to the wall.
His Mac looks like a rifle, dude. It's crazy.
Okay, Blame F. There's nothing on offer for him. Might be best positioned to just save that armor. Looking across the rest of Astralis in similar positions in terms of money. So if he can pick something up, fantastic for them. But nothing on offer. Oh, there's that peak. No, not close enough. I thought that was a little bit closer than it would have been, but just so clinical from Liquid, utilizing their utility advantage. This is starting to look healthy once again for Liquid. I know it's only early stages, but already they've got Astralis just having to bide their time with what they can buy. They're not really spending anything into this next round. Their purchase in was unsuccessful, so just some P250s. Blame F equips himself with an extra HE.
Yeah, just the full double eco. Respect being given by Astralis. Not backing themselves with the D Garber in the previous round. It's pretty minimal investments. Indicates that they really want to get a decent buy together. Maybe get the AWP into the hands of Glaive, because you saw from Nuke, he never even had a chance to get that rolling for himself. So if Astralis can buy themselves a bit more economy, it might get a little easier for them. It is a full stack on that A site with only Blame towards middle on the Deagle. And Team Liquid, after retrieving the bomb, that's the main thing I'm looking at right now. They're still setting up for this mid control. Smoke into window will help Stewie get some control of Con. Allegion's giving him a hand with that. But it will be an A split, Jim.
That's what's on the cards here. Grim rolls on in. Looking for him again on entry to just open things up. Oh, pistols do some damage here. And they're actually looking dangerous. They're trading 1-for-1. That's not good for Liquid. One plant will come in, however, Stewie now, with that grenade, has to do some work here on behalf of Fallen, who will get away. They now have a crossfire here. Blame F, saving that Deagle armor across from the previous. Could turn that into a round win, however, he has to dismantle. Incredibly difficult crossfire from Liquid. Fallen has not revealed his position whatsoever. We're just going to play that off angle on the bomb. Stewie is just chewing up all the time. Poor Blame F, and he's aware of the presence, the likelihood, and Fallen peaking at the perfect moment. That is a good round for Liquid to win, but Astralis doing so much damage with just those pistols. That's exactly what they wanted.
Dude, Lucky is so good at killing armored players with the USP. His double dinks have actually kind of been insane this tournament. Like when Astralis are taking full ecos, I swear that bloke is just able to find kills. Don't even upgrade your pistol, mate. Don't put him on the D. I feel like it's better on the USP. Liquid, util pressure towards middle. Astralis have taken some control over there. Haven't seen a single soul on the T side until Grim just entries A with ease straight into the action. Lucky diving through the smoke is actually making a little bit of inroads. Config as well, finding a pick. So Liquid, it was a smooth entry into the site, but since then things are quickly turning around in the favor of Astralis here, Jim.
Oh, Zipex just finding two. Quick as you like, just getting up on that trash can, taking out the trash as it's all on Naf's shoulders, and he was forced all the way back onto T ramp. Team Liquid shut out of that round, and I was posturing for a good round coming out of Liquid based on the fact that That entry from Grim was crisp. However, they were met with stiff resistance. That push through mid from Astralis, it found the information it needed. There was nobody in mid. It arrived in the A bomb site at the right time, and that made things incredibly difficult for this fast A push from Liquid.
Again, aggression straight through middle for Blame F. Looking to take the fight to the T's. The flashes are layered very, very well, and although the first couple of bullets connect, he can't see. And it's pretty hard to play when you can't see. You have Liquid with that man advantage nice and early on. Look like they're in a rush here. It's taking their time.
Being pumped. Oh, Jewel goes the way of Grim.
Okay, if Lucky's going to just go with the USP, then Grim's... I'm down for him to just keep buying the Mac 10.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Liquid are at right now. Grim's seeing if he can win a series only Mac 10ing.
Let's get that redemption arc, right? That's exactly what he's posturing for. Glaive, though, removes the threat on ARM. However, he's unaware of the potential A-Rap coming in now from Liquid. They've got that bomb towards the ramp. With the two players in mid, Astralis readjust here. In this sort of situation, it might be best to just relinquish control one of the bomb sites and stack their numbers in their favour. Stack the deck, if you will.
Glaive could dismount for this, and there's no point. Naf too good. Coming out Palace. East 2k for him. And Zip, wondering where it all went wrong. His life has fallen apart and he's going to have to pick up and move. He's going to inspect this apartment, but doesn't like what he sees.
That's the story. If you're inspecting apartments in Sydney, you never really like what you see.
Dude, when I first moved out, I think the first apartment I ever inspected, it was like a 2-floor apartment because I was moving in with some other people, and the railing on the staircase was literally hanging out of the wall, and the estate agent was just looking at me. It was like, yeah, we're gonna get all this cleaned up. Like there was just garbage everywhere. The fridge smelled horrible, and like nothing was where it should be. And they were offering viewings of this apartment, like inspections. They're like, yeah, we will sell this to you. You are interested, yes?
Yeah, your apartment looking like a workshop map.
Oh, God.
Oh, Naf with these crisp entries onto the side. That was a round where I thought if Liquid took more time there, they may have run into trouble. Astralis were going to stack numbers back towards that A-bomb site. Do see teams sometimes do that late in the round where trying to stack numbers in their favour. Oh, off angle, catches fallen. Nice double stack as they do cop the grenade damage, but... Ooh. Just to stand and fight here in mid. Oh, Lige. Zipax just gets left for dead.
Yeah, left high and dry. By Blame. A1S is just doing work on many angles. Lige on that low HP, just going to take the AWP further. Really, Grim, it's on him to find the impact here. If he finds this pick on the con, that could be big for Liquid. But Blame's making his way over there. He's got some supportive flashbangs as well, Jim.
The work to do, though. He's going to play above that smoke. Oh, Config. His entire clip does not find a single target. And now he's just got somehow picked up a leash. Naf is on point. Has to try and salvage the round for Liquid. And Config, he is somehow eluded Liquid in that round. Manages to pick up Lige with the pistol, and I think that's highway robbery.
Money's a bit shaky now for Liquid. Probably a half-buy situation. Economy on the CT side. Loss bonus is not good, but the money has not built up just yet. So all of these kills coming in for Team Liquid on the Deeks and the P250 are absolute money moving further into this half. Will give them some very real reset potential.
Like, unsupported. Does take some early damage from the Deagle. Will have to back off. Blame is going to try and chance his hand. As well, Liquid, they are the fish in the barrel. Fallen, trying to make it as expensive as possible, but Config and Glaive keep it clean. And it's back to 4 apiece. This is quite a messy game of Counter-Strike, Pilski, and it's certainly got some twists and turns left, but Liquid are trying to work those extremities of the map. And if they can find those openings early on, it makes their job easier, but when they run into those walls, they just run out of options.
Well, NAF going to be the bank of Liquid and throw Fallen and all. No AWP still for Astralis, opting to play that 5 rifle, even though their economy has built up quite substantially. The pressure on middle has been noticeable for Astralis. They're often taking duels over here. This time it is just the damage chipped with the HE grenades. Zipmix all the way through Palace. This could be a real difference maker in a round like this. He surely heard NAF over towards ramp side there.
No, he's just going to bite his time. NAF's not going to oh, hang on.
There's no way he just circle jumped that, Jim. There's absolutely no way.
Oh, the term booked gets thrown around a lot lately, but that is well and truly booked.
Yeah.
Stu on that late lurk, as the rest of us of Liquid are going to address towards the A bomb site. Liege opening up onto Lucky. That means that they have free reign here if they could just cut off jungle, which they will with the smoke. So this activates Stewie on the active lurk list. Blame F, well, he's just going to fall victim. Nobody expects him.
Bomb has been planted.
All worked around from Liquid.
Felt like that was going to be Astralis' round every day of the week, Jim. Zipnix with the Palace push. Should have been free. But nothing in life is free, unfortunately. I love Glaive's player photo, by the way. It just screams proud dad. You know?
And why not be a proud dad? You've assembled a roster that has star fragging power. Not even that nuke performance has dented his smile.
No, he just mowed the lawns. Look at him. Arms crossed. Check this out. Got in there with the whippersnipper.
Well, Astralis are looking a little rough around the edges, so maybe they could do with a whippersnip or two.
Yeah. See if they can trim things up. Get things back in shape. Because Liquid has built up a little bit of money now, and they've got a couple of T rounds to work with. Again, first point of contact seems to be middle every single time.
Oh, Glaive has got to be counting his lucky stars there. Fallen. Miss, but are they going to expect the aggression? That's going to provide Glaive with some cover. However, here we go. Things are starting to unravel in both middle and those B halls. So that does thin the numbers. And that just makes things difficult for Astralis to cover so much territory. They're going to hit this B bomb site now, and I think that is the right call. The bomb is going to be slightly delayed though. So blame F. Oh, I thought that was going to potentially be a flash that would just hit him off that line, and they have no idea he is here.
He swindled them. Behind enemy lines right now. Executes the bomb. Planter, he third the player outside of market as well. And Blame F has played that to perfection. Even going to get himself over towards the bench. He deserves a rest, and NAF's going to give him a nap indeed. A dirt nap, if anything. Lucky trying to shift his position away from market, see if he can catch NAF on the off timing. But I think he's been spotted.
Oh. NAF might check this. Oh! He doesn't. And Lucky had a slither of a pixel to work with, and he makes that into a round for Astralis. It was expensive for them. And everything just exploding in mid. Blame F just playing that round to perfection, though. That patience to sit in that B-bomb site. To be fair, Liquid didn't do their due diligence and check it.
Timeout for Liquid. But don't know how much there really is to chat about in reflection. They kind of just got swindled by Blame F, who's having a pretty solid game for himself. I think main tendency that you're seeing time and time again for Liquid is Astralis wanting to take fights towards middle. This is going to be an important round as we head into round number 11. Scores tied 5 apiece. Both teams pretty broke in terms of the economy. So this will be a swing round for both teams respectively. Molly to top mid boxes. And a flash over the top from the A side of the map sets up Blame F for success.
Ooh, I don't expect Stewie to be so far advanced through underpass. The trade is good. Opens up the middle of the map now. And Liquid are going to try and use what map control they have. With Stewie in mid, put pressure on the B bomb site. That actually may work out with Astralis now having to rotate Zipex off the B bomb site into a position now to watch mid because they are so afraid of this map being cut. Lucky's got lots of information with config, so they are running these information plays, Astralis, and they will cotton on to the fact this is B.
Yeah, Glaive dead to defend, but his light screens. Nix has snuck his way onto the site, and he's at least going to keep himself.
And they've made that call. It's a tough one, but it's better to be a threat in the next round than lose their weaponry. Now, Astralis will cotton on to that early save call, certainly with the information that Blame F is going to gather in mid. So, the question is, do they try and push? I think this stage of the game, their own economy is certainly far more important. Early call to save will mean that Team Liquid will be able to take in better weaponry into the next, and Naf will just have to, more than likely, fend for himself. He's actually been dropped over. M4, so Elige will just run his money down.
Yeah.
Looking good now, Liquid. This is a good buy.
Yeah, better buy than they had in the previous. Better util, more kits across the board. And they're also maxed on loss bonus. So, like I said, this is kind of what I expected with the A1S changes, the 2900 rifle. I expected a lot more of those third round buys and see a declining prevalence of the second round buys because you can just save over those rifles and give it another crack in the next round. Glaive's got his hands on an A1S though. Config. We'll see just how warmed up he's getting as he starts to probe towards middle.
Team Liquid happy to let them have the run of play coming down mid. But once they enter those choke points, key point of difference too between Astralis and Liquid was that Astralis really were keen to contest middle, try and take those fights, try and disrupt territory being taken early on, but Grim's got a whole heap of info here with this palace push. He needs to stay alive here as well as this A pincer starts to unravel.
Yeah, Fallen repositioning a little. Glaive's gone exploring over towards short, taking a peek into the ladder room. He's pressuring up short B as well. Liquid, they don't have a whole lot of info. Got Stewie minding the murder hole. But the key position definitely being Palace. Fallen's got his work cut out for him. Doesn't have a whole lot of support, but still good for one before he gets traded out. And this sets up Grim for success.
Grim has to find a timing here as Astralis stream on into the site. Elige is also providing some resistance. However, Astralis are just being hampered. They are not allowed to plant this bomb. With 10 seconds left as well. There's a lot of work to be done by Lucky and Blame F. Grim is just showing his noggin at the right time, and that is going to distract Astralis. They will not be able to get this bomb plant. Lucky will be very lucky to save his weapon. 2 HP, and that is a round Astralis desperately needed, but so much time being used up again by Astralis. Liquid able to play that round to perfection. That Palace presence from Grim really did create such a disruption to this A bomb site. However, there were just these jewels all over the map going the way of Liquid.
Let's see how Astralis change the pace. much quicker window and con smoke this time around, right off the bat from them. Fallen looking to AWP into underpass, but spotted out and mollied out of position. Is in a bit of a pickle now as the T's look to pressure him, but still he's got his back. Covering well from Con. Finds the opener. Now Astralis just putting the foot down on the accelerator straight out of Palace. Trying to get space on the A site, but they're losing players along the way, Jim.
Yep. No need for contest to be taken here by Liquid. They're happy to just let these two settle into a rhythm as BlameF is going to join Zipex. And all of Liquid are there in middle. They're at a staging area waiting for this retake to occur. NAF will chew things up by going to Ticket. Needs to be careful not to over-aggress though. Liquid seem to be cottoning onto the fact there may be a player in the site, but this boost, is it going to catch Liquid off guard? Remaining util.
I like that. Smoke on Con, Molly deep. Zip is really setting up Blame for success here, but Liquid, they're well aware that that's a possibility. Open plant actually being afforded here, but Zip's going to lose his life for it, actually.
Pixel perfect from NAF on that spam. BlameF looking for more than just the one that he got. So Astralis, they will surrender that lead. It will go to a 10-all scoreline. And you never feel as though Astralis are truly down and out of these rounds, although the numbers certainly aren't favouring them. Liquid are giving them a whole lot of respect, giving them a lot of space, but more importantly, trying to maintain strength in numbers.
Oh, Astralis, good enough money to purchase. And indeed they will. Straight into yet another buy. I'm not sure I've seen Glaive with an AWP in his hand once in these whole two maps, Jim.
There's always questions over the roles. Astralis, the experiment continues. Now, it's faster approaching mid. This means Liquid have to back off. They can't take these contests. They don't want to take damage. Boost though from Elish. Might be able to net Lucky. As that smoke fades. That's spot him. So that means Astralis are going to have to go into action here at the B bomb site. Fallen does find the timing there onto Zipex, and now, Astralis are just being siphoned into this B bomb site. They have to stand and fight. And this is just playing into the hands of Liquid. However, BlameF has a 3 versus 1 potential. Doesn't have to commit to this bomb site. However, Stewie on that lurk. Here we go. This opens up the map entirely now for Astralis. BlameF, new into this roster, wants to carve a name for himself. Write it in the stars, if you will. He split the CT defense.
Yeah, one apiece. Pretty safe positions from both of the Liquid players right now, though. Fallen careful that he doesn't get caught by a jump into window to murder hole from Blame, which wouldn't be a bad play, to be honest, but Blame going to return to the B site.
Grim playing this with patience. BlameF is going to wait for market. He's going to fully commit to that plant, and timing is perfect. He had no time for a fake, no time to clear anything out, and that plays nicely into the hands of Liquid. The money is looking nice. I wouldn't say the same for Astralis, so they have to do some talking, have to do some thinking. Looking for inspiration here, Pilski.
Yeah, they'll have a little bit of a time to collect their thoughts, because I think they'll probably have to take a save after that one. I saw a couple of players at or below 3k. It seems to be the go-to for Astralis, Jim. Pistols around a hero AK on play there. He was already copped a fair bit of damage through the smoke there. Leech might even clean him up if given the opportunity. But after seeing that T vacating mid, Elige knows he's got some space there.
Ooh. Okay, aggro in mid. Liquid have got their man. They're going to fall back. I don't want to lose any of these weapons to pistols, that would be an unfortunate turn of events for Liquid, who have fought hard to get themselves back into this position. Chewy just playing the anti-flash, watching underpass. Bullet on the line. Uh-oh. That one misses. Somewhere in the Shadow Realm, someone gets AWP. And this is not a set of duels that Liquid really want to be losing.
Well, they're finding a way to do it, though. Lucky was looking to try to pick that player on the A-cross if possible. But now he's going to wait for the rest of the boys to join up with him. In the meanwhile, Liquid have not sat back. NAF's all the way through B apartments. They know that it's not B. They got that player deep on short as well. With no utility coverage, Fallen's just going to be able to post up on that A-cross.
Oh, has work to do. Finds Lucky, so that is going to be Flame F trying to take that duel, and he's not going to win it against Fallen, who finds the double. Flame F was just fodder in that situation, and Astralis had nothing to work with there. That round hinged on Grim. He needed to stay up. He needed to stay alive in that A-bomb site. Liquid were just too far away to prevent the bomb plant if he was to go down, so crucial round for them as they start to streak on. That loss bonus is in full swing for Astralis. They really need these bomb plants though. Oh, early damage early on. As the Liege gets boosted into the window, just playing and anticipating some aggression from Astralis. However, Astralis pumped the brakes.
Yeah, taking their time here. But this has kind of been their undoing a couple of times already, Jim. Feels like every time they have run down that clock, they end up getting picked in the mid to late round. Both on Nuke and here on Mirage as well. It's been a common trend. Liquid giving them lots of space because they know like they've been doing well in rounds like this. Don't feel the pressure to take those initial duels. Liege tucked into the ladder room. It is going to be a retake B setup from Team Liquid. Fallen. See if he gets any picks on the cross, because he's got mid on lockdown, at least for the time being.
They're just going to get into this bomb site one at a time. Those Molotovs, that utility is just spacing out Astralis. And there's nothing they can do about it. They have to back off.
Yeah. They're going to go back, but like, I don't even know how you can find space elsewhere. Elite just got mid on lockdown. At least that's what I thought. They finds him over the top of the smoke on a cheeky angle, but Stewie on the off angle in jungle. You've still got Grim on the site. Look, Astralis are putting some frags together, and the trades are actually pretty snappy. Oh, I cannot believe they've actually made a round of this. But it still doesn't go their way. I'd love to see the replay of that shot from Fallen.
Oh, dear me. I thought, okay, for a moment, you back Zipex to make this.
Yeah, I cannot believe they almost turned around that 3-on-5 when they started backpedaling out of B with 40 seconds on the clock. Oh,
that is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting.
He's so good with those vertical flicks. Honestly, we saw another one of those on Nuke. And obviously there's a couple of famous clutches from Fallen where he does some vertical and diagonal flicks that are absolutely godly.
Well, he's entered into the fray at the right time here for Liquid. Surging towards that 15 round mark, 16 round mark, that series win, and potentially knocking Astralis out of IEM Winter. That's certainly well below their expectations for this roster.
Yeah. Even though it is only early days, not surprised to see such variance of going from a top 4 to potential elimination at this stage of the roster's life cycle. There is definitely room for some variance. Half buy-in from Astralis, though. They're going to kick off this A execute. Grim mollied out of position, but instantly extinguishes, and they're going to play a double underbalk setup. Grim going to fight to give Stewie the opportunity to frag out.
Oh, Grim died so Stewie could live. And he finds two, stays alive, and now forces Flame F in a way. Wait, attempt on mid. Oh, there we go. This is all going away of Astralis. Fallen chiming in again with the second, and so he is starting to put Liquid over the line. However, Zipex and Lucky, they still hold positive hope for Astralis. They are worlds apart, though, as Lucky is going to try and take as much territory as possible, but not progress past Tetris. And Liquid, they still have the advantage of numbers in this 4 versus 2.
Yeah, they got Fallen in his trademark position over towards the ticket booth. About as comfortable as he could be in the conference, and even in that opening game, we were talking about Taco being famous for his anchor work and his wing play. If there's, I don't know if there is a more iconic position for Fallen than sitting at ticket on Mirage.
He's certainly rolling back the years. Maybe forcing Astralis into tears is now winding down that clock. They are looking for these jewels, Astralis. They are not being given them. Very disciplined performance here from Liquid. Gonna get that double boost. Potentially going on the ramp as Zipex and Lucky, they both face mid-connector. They're gonna be flanked though by Grim. And that is the 15th round being brought up for Liquid. That is series point. And we could potentially see Astralis making a second round exit here at IEM Winter.
Yeah, Liquid's just being the goods today. It's been a clean 2-0 from them. Things definitely got a little bit sticky in that first half, but since then it's been all ups for Liquid. Astralis putting together what could be their last buy of the series here. They're going to take a timeout. Going to have a chat about what their options are and see if they can forge their way back to OT and potential lifeline in this tournament.
That's a fairly heavy situation for them. As I said, underperformance from some of the key players has certainly hurt them. I mean, a 16-1 scoreline in the first map, their own map pick, simply clobbered out of the server, and now they're heading on into this, having to face 5 match points to keep the IEM Winter campaign alive. That is a tall order for any team. And this Liquid, this iteration of Liquid right now, is playing with a level of freedom we have not seen from them in a long time. Fallen hitting some peak form.
Yeah, no weak link in the armor for Team Liquid. Everyone across the board has been pretty on point in this series. Layering of the flashes here for Astralis, trying to apply pressure towards B apartments, but the utility is well placed yet again from Team Liquid. Molotov in towards the apartments. Multiple flashes on the line, and there's no entry into the site there for Astralis. At least they've found a 1-for-1 in middle, though.
Push through the smoke on the catwalk. Not going to be recognised by Config. Lige, smartly, he gets out, so maintaining player advantage for Team Liquid. Glaive got a lot of work to do with that UMP. He cannot do it. Naf decapitates him. And now the pressure is mounting in this 4 versus 2. They have to take these duels. And Team Liquid, they've been so smart in these situations. They have not been willing to give them one-on-one duels.
Yeah. Very safe positioning. Naf's in his little cubby, his safe space in towards jungle. Back to a corner. Grim's on the jump spot. Retake A. 2-man setup on B. Couldn't be safer for Team Liquid. 30 seconds on the clock. Just waiting for the T's to make noise or make contact.
Oh, they're not going to check that.
That's a sound cue.
Yep. Naf. Oh, there's no movement. Naf strikes at the right moment. Grim wipes the floor with Zipex, and that is Astralis being knocked out of IEM Winter 2021. Team Liquid will progress in the lower bracket. It's an upset central, and we'll be back after the break to take you through it. Astralis falling to Team Liquid on 2 maps where you would say that Astralis certainly had the upper hand. 16-1 in the first map, which was Nuke, Astralis' pick, and now falling 16-10 on Mirage. This is upset city, upset central, call it what you like. It's not the result that too many would predicted. And it's safe to say this Liquid iteration is just looking better and better as they progress through the lower bracket.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a lot of CT side dominance from them. The majority of their rounds coming on that CT side, even that first half was pretty close, pretty back and forth when Liquid was playing their own T side on Nuke. They didn't have to play a T side, which always helps you out. You know, they got that 14 rounds, really, really crazy, dominant half. But it felt like, yeah, in particular on the CT side, Team Liquid were infallible today. And I'm not sure if that was just down to Astralis underperforming on the T side. Obviously, they're a team where for the longest time, they've been known for their tactical prowess and for their ability to be able to have very, very solid chemistry amongst the players and very well thought out and well constructed T sides. But just wasn't really the case here today, whether that was through their own fault and their own misplays or just absolute individual brilliance for Team Liquid. I'd probably say little column A, little column B.
Certainly was a performance that nobody expected from Liquid, right? Like a lot of questions over what the future of this roster is, who's going to be in it, who's not, and where they're headed. But right now, it seems as though they're headed towards a lower bracket run, and Fallen just rolling back the clock in so many rounds, able to just find them some key picks at the right moments. And I think it's safe to say that he was one of their key performers. And I mean, looking at the series stats, he's a real standout.
Yeah, he did well for themselves. I didn't think, anyone on Liquid was too far behind the 8 ball for the most part. No underperformances at all. All of them fragged across the board, both maps. So you contrast that to Astralis. You had a couple of individuals who are a little bit silent. I don't think anyone really stepped up to the plate on Nuke, at least there on Mirage. Blame was giving it a red hot crack. Config was getting involved in the action, but it felt like Astralis just couldn't hang on the individual level in this game. So I think they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and we're seeing the variance that comes with a brand new roster like this being mishmash thrown together. It's going to take time. Yeah, it was promising.